Alright, so I figured I would do a video on the plant. I didn't really plan to winter this over. I had the pot outside, and so I brought it in thinking, I would see what happens. I'll bring it in. So I figured I'd bring in the Malabar spinach. That's what this is, by the way. I figured I'd bring it in and let's see what it does. And so I put it in one of the rooms, the back rooms, because all the whole window space area in front of my sliding windows is filled with pepper plants. So I didn't have room to really fit another pot. I have almost 100 plants up there right now, and that is impossible for me to maintain. So I said, let me put it in another back room that still has a south-facing window, and let's just leave it there. And it's not going to get the best of sunlight because that window has a special tinting on the window. So I put it in that back room, and I forgot it was there. Until recently, one of my subscribers or one of my viewers came in and they made a comment like, "Oh, you're growing this indoors." And it was on an older video I had done showing you me bringing it in. So I was like, oh wow, I completely forgot I had that back there, because I really don't go upstairs and in the room really. It's just an extra room. I don't really use it, and I forgot it was in there basically. So I went running up there. As soon as I read that comment, I was like, oh wow, let me get up there and get that thing. So when I went up there, the pot was completely dry, bone dry down to literally nothing. It was just dry. It hasn't been watered in 2 months, something like that. So I grabbed the thing and I brought it down here immediately, and the first thing I did was water it, and I let it, I filled it with water, and I let it drain. And it's going to take a while to hydrate the soil back, so it's going to take several waterings to get this back to normal. But pretty much what you see here is what I found when I went upstairs. Now the leaves were kind of yellowish a little bit, like this a little, like some of the leaves did fall off. It sacrifices some of its older leaf growth to maintain the moisture in the plant itself. It seemed like that's what it was doing, and maybe some of the berries and everything. I basically rehydrated it. I broke these off in order for me to bring this in, because the plant was basically like up here. I just broke the ends because it was growing in the greenhouse, and I wanted to bring the main root part in. So I broke all the long parts off and brought it in. Let me just show you here. I brought it in and I left it. Alright? And I forgot it, dried out. Went upstairs, got it, brought it down here, and I'm just going to show you what's left of it and how it's doing. This plant seems to be an invincible plant. I mean, it wasn't getting the right sunlight because all that sunlight that was coming in was filtered. So it's not getting all the rays of the sun. It was just getting whatever light. And so the color of the leaves actually turned into this kind of awkward yellow-brown color, but still strong, still healthy for the most part. Now that I got it down here for about a day or two, it seems like the green is starting to come back in under regular lighting, because I can't really put it, like I say, in my dining room where the south-facing window is, what gets regular light. It's not coated. I brought it in. It was basically going into a fruiting stage when I brought it in. You can see it has like some of those green berries. Okay, so it had berries like that basically when I was bringing it in. It also had these flower things that were on it, but there were no ripe berries on it, and it just basically sat in that room without the proper sunlight for 2 months. No water, no nothing. I completely forgot about it. So it continued to grow, and it continued producing and ripening up these berries. Now these berries probably aren't the full size they should be and everything, because this really wasn't meant to be wintered over like this. I didn't really plan to do this. And then you can see on the bottom here how many plants I got coming out of the bottom. It's not like one plant. There's a whole bunch of plants coming in here. So my assumption is I could probably prune this thing down to a point where it'll actually grow like a plant, more like this. You see how this thing is just kind of growing like a plant and not a vine? I'm under the assumption that this may have a few different growing patterns, or a couple of different growing types to it. It's not just a vine. You could probably get this thing to turn into a bush or a plant or a house plant, and you could pick the leaves off and eat them. It's a very fast growing, very durable plant. I mean, this thing, not to have watering for 2 months and live is something to say about it. it buried, you know, it produced berries inside the house, inside these pots. So it looks like it's going to make the winter. If I could just maintain this for another 2 months, I can plant this out. I don't plan on bringing it in next year. I just for curiosity, I brought it in to see what it would do. So you can obviously winter these over. You can grow them indoors if you do so. You could probably train them to grow in such a way where it'll grow like a bush rather than like viney and long like this. It's not really putting any energy into growing like a vegetative growth, you know, growing long vines. It's not really doing that. It's putting its energy right now into the flower as well as the berry and everything else, and it seems like that's where it wants its energy. But if I can maintain this until spring, I will definitely plant this out in the yard somewhere and just let it grow and see what it does. And then we'll do a follow-up video the following year to see if any of these berries or the seeds that fall off in a zone 5A or 5B, whatever I'm in, see if they will come up on their own to tell you if this is a reproductive self-seeding type of a plant in my zone. And if it could do it in a 5A, then that's really my goal, is to find out if it'll do that. But the first thing the plant wants to do is begin to wrap around things. That's as soon as I put it in the light. Let's see how it's coming up around here. It's wrapping around that right away. So it does want to go into a viney stage, but it will live without virtually almost no light, no water obviously for 2 months. So this would probably make a really good desert plant if you live in an environment where you don't really have a lot of water. It's very dry where you are. This thing will probably do pretty good. They're succulent. It's more of a succulent, this thing. It's got that kind of like a purslane. You know what purslane looks like? It's kind of got that kind of a stem feel to it and structure. But yeah, it will live indoors, and so far it's doing good. If it could survive the torture that I put these plants through, I'm sure if you're one of those people that like to, you know, take care of plants throughout the winter, if you like to, you know, have something to look at and water and all that, this is an easy one. This is really no trouble with this thing at all. You ain't gonna have any problems growing this indoors. Just give it a little light. You know, this is the light I'm using. All right, it's about 94 watts. It's good enough to winter over and keep things alive. Try to give you a look at the flower buds. Now again, this didn't get light, so now that it's getting light, things are starting to get green on here. And it's starting to grow right away. This thing looks like it's starting to grow, because I don't remember it looking this flush. It's really, really coming up. It wants to put these berries out. I could probably do a taste test on one of these berries. I don't know how dirty this thing is. Alright, that's the berry. Alright, let me taste it. That's a seed. You can see it does stain your skin a little bit. As far as the taste of the berry, it doesn't. It tastes just like the leaf, really. It tastes exactly the same. I didn't really get any sweetness from it. Maybe it'll be sweeter in the spring. I might be able to get this thing to become sweeter. Maybe I can make a juice out of it. But so far, it wasn't nothing sweet about it. It wasn't horrible tasting. It pretty much tastes like the leaf. There's a seed in there, and that's really it. Really nothing spectacular. It does have the cyanamine or whatever that is, that purplish staining stuff. So it's just like a what's that berry called? Pokeweed makes those berries like a pokeweed. It gets you, as soon as you grab those berries, it ends up all over your hands. You get stains all over you. You can't wash it off. This has got that kind of coloring in it. But yeah, I just ate one of the berries anyway. Spit the seed out. So if I die from eating the seed and you don't see me make videos anymore, that means that the seeds are not edible. So, but we'll see. I will do an update in the spring when I go to plant this, and we'll see what happens from there. Alright, so that was just an update on the Malabar spinach. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one.